I mention that I want we go?
The mayor's 30 minutes late.
He won't be joining us. Truck hijackings, violence at the docks, the gang war. It all ends today. Luca, this is what you owe Victor. Restitution.
1.8. I like the sound of that.
Are you out of your mind?
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Welcome back, everyone. This week we were given 2 episodes from Daredevil Born Again, episode 5 and 6. So, the biggest question here is, are these episodes better than last week's? Well, let's just get into episode 5. So episode 5 takes place on St. Paddy's Day. Matt is going to the bank to get a loan. Matt sees, this guy. Don't know who he is or why they're doing some mysterious reveal, but whatever. Anyways, using my Sherlock Holmes detective skills, I conclude that this is Kamala Khan's dad. You know, because he has a little Funko Pop of her, and they keep saying her name.
My daughter, Kamala, and her very own superhero, Miss Marvel. And my daughter,
the famous Kamala.
Kamala.
Anyways, the guy has to say no to Matt, so Matt goes on his way, but after Matt leaves is when these Irish lads show up, led by this guy who thinks he's Colin Farrell. Also, I think this was the guy who killed those dudes in the truck in episode 3. Well, these guys robbed the bank for some diamond, but we'll get into it a little later. Anyways, Matt hears this and goes back to the bank only to be added to the other hostages. But before he gets caught, Matt told Kirsten to call the cops, so the cops show up pretty fast, but I'll get into them a little later, because they don't really do anything. So back to the Irish. The leader is looking for the bank manager, but has to settle for Yusuf, the guy Matt was talking to earlier, because his name sounds like useful. And he's also the bank assistant too. So picking up with the police, Kim, Cherry's old partner, is trying to get some hostages free. The Irish leader says to his lackey that they have the police thinking that they're in control.
What's the move?
Let them think they're in control, just like the boss says.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Does your mother know the kind of work that you do?
So a few things happen here. The Irish robbers get a woman and Matt to be the hostages that get to go free. Matt pisses off the leader so much that he makes Matt stay. So they release her and her husband. And the second thing is now they take Yusuf to unlock the safe. Matt tells him to stall, so Yusuf goes downstairs to the safe to get the diamond, while Matt is upstairs. Matt says he has to go to the bathroom, so the red guy takes him there. But Matt does his thing, trying not to make any noise, and successfully knocks the guy out. And lucky thing he did, because the blue guy has figured out Yusuf is stalling and is about to kill him when Matt shows up. Matt takes him down, Matt unlocks the safe, and him and Yusuf find the diamond. Matt repeats the Irish leader's line from earlier. Upstairs, the leader guy is talking to Kim through the radio, and he makes her a deal. Make him laugh, or hostages will die. But bro should know, women aren't funny. Anyways, Matt and Yusuf make it up, but by this time, the police decide to go into the bank and take out the Irish to save the hostages. Matt times it just right, throwing the diamond in the air as the police bust down the door. The leader guy runs away and suits into some police outfit as Matt takes out the other robbers. The green guy, or the Irish leader, makes his way outside, but Matt follows him, putting on a mask of his own and fighting this dude. First by smashing his face on some glass, then jumping on his leg. Ouch. Then he knocks him out. But that's where the scene ends, kind of abruptly. But Matt comes in a little later to see Yusuf, to see how he's doing, and then slips in the diamond in his candy bowl, and that's how the episode ends. So, on to episode 6. So before we get started, this episode is everything I hate about episodes like this. What I mean by that is the symbolism between Matt and Fisk. Like, yes, they're one of the same, but it's kind of hard to follow them when we keep switching from one to the other. But I'll do my best. So the episode picks up with So the episode picks up the longest zoom in on a guy I've ever seen in a vest for some reason. But after that, we see one of the many murals from Muse. The guy from the last episode, who was in the bank as one of the hostages, is trying to wash it. But this will come back later. So we get the thing I really don't like, and the reason is I have to keep shifting focus. So we see Matt keeps getting flashbacks to everything that's happened to him recently, pushing him more and more over the edge. While on the Kingpin side, Luca is angry about having to pay, and it's just insulting Fisk. And I'm really hoping Fisk will just fight this dude already, which at the end of the episode has any indication it might be happening sooner than later. So now moving to Matt, don't know if this will go anywhere, but Heather wants to talk to Frank. She's talking to Matt about all the vigilantes he has freed. Again, don't know if it's important, but I thought I'd mention it. So after the intro, we see the guy from the bank episode in the beginning of this one is telling Fisk about the murals being coated in blood, and that all the murals are covered in blood. So Fisk makes a meeting with the police to talk about Muse and how to solve the problem. Speaking of Muse, we see him painting another wall when some women show up wanting to take a picture. Like, have we learned nothing from art? Anyways, of course Muse kills these chicks and uses their blood for a new painting. Now moving on to Matt and his office, he's talking with Kirsten, but Angela, Hector's niece, shows up to get Matt to do something to avenge her uncle and fight the police. It ends with her storming off and not getting her way. So she decides to take matters into her own hands. But before we get to the end of the episode, we see Fisk at some evening event. He's getting berated by some woman and Steven Spielberg here. Also, we see Jack from the Hawkeye show, which I can confirm that I will review Hawkeye come this November. Anyways, besides telling you the Hawkeye review will come out late November, this scene doesn't really do anything. So moving on. So after the evening event thing, Fisk takes matters into his own hands to stop Muse. So Fisk shows up to some factory place where all these corrupt cops are at and tells them to hunt down Muse like an animal. So after the scene, we pick up with Angela in the subway station. She gets captured by Muse, which a few things. One, I don't know how Bro can breathe out of that thing or even see. And the second thing, the actors who play Muse are very different. One is very bulky while the other is kind of scrawny. Anyways, Matt gets a call from Angela's mom, I think, and Matt is about to call the cops when he decides against it and instead puts on his costume, which I was kind of right when I said that last week. So Matt shows up to Muse's lair, and Muse does not land a single punch on Matt. It's quite sad. Matt is just way more experienced. However, at the same time, Fisk is coming down his lair with an axe to confront Adam. He tells him a story and gives him the opportunity to kill him. So while this scene plays, we cut from Matt and Fisk fighting, two sides of the same coin. Anyways, it's kind of annoying to show one then the other, but the episode ends with Matt saving Angela, and Muse is just wrecked. And Fisk's fists are bloody from nearly killing Adam, and that's how the episode ends. Okay, so I guess your biggest question is, are these episodes better than the previous two? Yes, but they are not perfect. Personally, I like episode 5 over 6 because 5 takes place in one location and stays there the whole episode, while 6 is just kind of all over the place. Now, personally for me, this show doesn't feel like Daredevil. It just feels kind of off. Think of it like this. We have had 10 years of these characters, and one gets shot and dies in the beginning of the first episode, then the other just disappears. So we're just given Matt and Fisk, which it feels like we're missing these characters. And what about all the other sideline characters, like Brett Mahoney, Ellison, Blake Tower, hell, even Marcy? It just doesn't feel like it's connected to the Netflix masterpiece. I don't know, we're just 6 episodes in, and I just don't get the same level of quality I come to expect from the previous seasons. Anyways, besides that, they're filming season 2 as we speak. Some footage has already leaked, and we're finally getting the double Ds on Daredevil. Only took 10 years. And he's wearing a new costume. And speaking of season 2, I hope that Muse will come back. I felt his role in the show was very short-lived. Also, I hope they don't kill him in the upcoming episodes, because they didn't really do anything with his character. And I guess that person was right when they said that Muse was just a side villain. It looks like the corrupt cops will be the main antagonist of the show. Also, even though I liked episode 5, it didn't feel right. It feels like they reshot this and it wasn't supposed to be here originally. Also, I'm wondering how Bullseye is coming back. We see a little bit more of him in the trailers, and we know that Elektra is supposed to come back, probably in season 2. But you can't have Bullseye kill her if he's dead. Also, pretty funny that Elektra's died 2 times. Just let her die already. And if somehow they do some MCU thing where Elektra kills Bullseye, like some bait and switch, I have the perfect meme for it. Anyways, besides that, those were just some of my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you like what you saw, consider liking. If you didn't, dislike. But till next time, peace.
Just do it! Make